sustainable as organizations, and to really be able to realize the bottom line and become profitable. Yeah.
Oh, beautiful. Because I think my question was going to ask, what is this maturity advancement? Now, let's look at day one. I want us to do a quick recap before SOCIKWA Lusukula namhlanje. How was day one of the summit? Tell me about it.
Well, day one for me was a very interesting and exciting one, because it had some industry leaders that spoke on key topical issues. It also had leaders from government that were there. And I think my take home from day one, there's three aspects. One, for any successful initiatives, there needs to be the correct leadership in place. And one that I took home was that when we speak of ICT solutions, one of the key things that is important is to ensure that the users understand what is the benefit for them, and also they know how they can be able to leverage off the solutions that they get to be provided. More often than not, we get either public institutions or anyone giving out solutions that the users do not even know what they're benefiting out of it. So I think that was the second one. And the third one was that we can't do this without having collaborations. You need the private sector, you need the community, you need civil society, and you also need government, if we are really to actually make an impact in terms of realizing a digital Eastern Cape.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Now we're looking at day two. I want to find out, just before you in fact entered the door for day two, obviously one has expectations. And then once you've listened, you ask yourself, you weigh within the expectations. Was it what I wanted? Or maybe we could have polished here and there. Tell me about that.
So day two started off with me being in the panel. So I was on the panel on day two, a panel of other small business owners. We were actually discussing a topic that is quite important for SMMEs, which is about the benefits and challenges of cloud technology for SMMEs. So we were really looking at things in terms of, for example, if you talk about benefits, the flexibility and scalability that it allows you to have as a business. I made an example in my presentation of my own business. So we are able to operate nationally and continentally, soon to actually launch ourselves globally, purely because of the cloud technology solutions that we have as a business. I also mentioned that I've got people who are in my employ, which I've never ever even met in my life, physically, face to face. We actually work remotely. I've got team members which spend a whole year who do not meet the only meet at Christmas parties of the company. And that is all because of the fact that we've been able to have technologies that enable us to work from anywhere. So I think from me, that was the start of, I had to share my own lived experiences. Before I came here, there was a topic around the whole aspect of data security, the ownership of data, and how critical is it for government to provide relevant policy interventions to ensure that as citizens of the country are protected with our data, and that to ensure that our data as a sovereign state does not easily get to be taken by other people outside of the world. For example, you would know that majority of providers that provide cloud technology solutions still come from outside of the country. So how do you ensure that as they come in and as you are a user, you still feel safe that your data that you have will not easily find itself in any other country outside of South Africa without your permissions? So it was an interesting conversation, and it is for me because as a business, we also have some of the public institutions as our clients, which then the information that we normally deal with, whereas I did mention that we also involved in terms of being able to advise institutions in terms of how they roll out their strategy. Those are things that they hold dear to their own management and executive level. The storage of that information becomes critical. So I think it was an exciting one. And then I think the last one is being here, sharing my own experiences with you.
I'm listening to it, and I'm so inspired, and I do definitely know, especially young people, because at the end of the day, I've been mentioning that ICT Summit, guys, that just before I let you go, next year we're going on to the 18th annual summit. What would you like to see next year? Differently?
I think to me, actually to create a bigger platform for SMMEs, I think from what I think there's about six of us this summit, which were on the panel and shared our experiences. And more importantly, also some of our counterparts were able to share the services that they provide. I think opening up that platform more for also SMMEs, because that is where a lot of innovative solutions and ideas come from. And it also a space where you find a lot of young people.
Definitely.
And I think to me that is quite important. One other thing I would love to see in the next ICT summit is the progress that the government would have made in the broadband infrastructure rollout that they are doing in the rural areas. I think I must commend them in the Eastern Cape. It's quite great, because we always criticize them, but where they're doing well, it's important that we commend them, because that allows now you have a school kid sitting in a village town like my town, Sukakumbu, who can be able to access the internet. But you want then the SMMEs, because I'm an advocate for SMMEs. You want SMMEs, if you are saying SMMEs must be able to leverage on technology solutions, they need to have access to internet. So those are the things that I would like to see next year in the next ICT summit from my side.
I love how you're mentioning Mandela Scholar. I'm very passionate when it comes to youth development. I've been seeing a couple of kids in uniforms walking from store to store, and I have to say, iyakhuthaza laa nto mhlawumbi usuka kuqumbu uyafika uyabona ulazi noyazi noba lo ICT summit stands for what. You see these big people that you probably see on the internet, but when you face to face with them, you also find that this person is human. What they have achieved, I could also achieve. So having abantu abanjenga Mr. SOCIKWA, I have to say kudos to you. Jonga, lisenza nathi sisive singabantu abakhulu sisibona in the next 5-10 years we will definitely be in your positions. Thank you so much for joining us, and sizakubona eThekwini.
Yeah, thanks so much. By the way, we have presence not only in Durban, we have presence here at Eastern Cape and also Durban. It's just that Durban is our head office, and that is where primarily most of the time I spend my time. But we work in Eastern Cape, Gauteng and KZN, and we now obviously branching out to the Western Cape as well. But those three provinces are the ones that we are currently having existence on. And thank you so much for the interview. And may you have a blessed day further. Thank you.
Definitely. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. That was Mr. LWANDILE SOCIKWA, who is the CEO of SOCIKWA Management. As I did mention, it's officially day 2 of the summit. It's definitely get into some music, as Kwaxi would say. And looking at time, it is exactly